All right, let's get right into this, because we're looking at something you really don't see every day. You've got two public figures, Muhammad Hijab and Paul Golding, who are known for their, let's say, very different views. And they decided to hash out their differences, not just with words, but, yeah, in an actual sparring match.
And look, this wasn't just some empty threat. To really drive the point home, Paul Golding actually swore this on a Bible during their talk. That just shows you how serious they were. What started as a challenge was quickly turning into a real negotiation for a physical fight.
So, how did we even get here? Let's actually break down how this whole fight was being negotiated, because the details are pretty fascinating.
Now here's where it gets complicated. You've got these two pretty controversial guys, right? So a licensed public MMA event? Not gonna happen. But an underground fight? Well, their lawyers basically said, look, if you do that without a license, you could both be facing assault charges. So they found a workaround. They decided to call it a sparring session and live stream it just to keep it all within a controlled, sports environment.
And this table right here, this shows you they weren't messing around. I mean, look at these terms. 4-ounce MMA gloves, those are the small, professional ones. And, get this, no headgear. They agreed to full MMA rules, which means you can win by knockout, TKO, or submission. This was never going to be a friendly spar. This was a fight in everything but name.
Okay, so just as they're getting all the fight details ironed out, the entire conversation takes this incredibly sharp turn. And it all started with one simple personal question that had nothing to do with fighting.
And boom, that was the pivot. Muhammad Hijab knew that Paul Golding's grandfather was actually being treated by a Muslim doctor, so he hits him with this question, right to the heart of it. He took this abstract political argument and made it intensely personal by asking Golding about the very man who was helping his own family. It was a brilliant move, completely changing the subject from fight rules to core beliefs.
And Golding's answer was just instant, no hesitation. He says yes, absolutely he would want that doctor sent back. His argument was that British doctors would just step in and fill the jobs. And just like that, with that one exchange, this whole thing transformed from a negotiation about a fight into a raw, unfiltered debate about immigration, identity, and the future of Britain.
So yeah, that one question just opened the floodgates. All of a sudden, they were deep in a debate about the demographic makeup of the entire United Kingdom. And of course, they both came armed with completely different sets of facts to back themselves up. And you can see the statistical battlefield laid out right here. On one side, Hijab is pointing to academic sources like Pew Research and official government numbers, saying that the demographic changes aren't as extreme as people think. But on the other side, Golding paints a much different picture. He's claiming the ethnic minority population is already at 25%, and that a whopping 1.2 million foreigners moved to the UK in just the last year.
So where are they getting their info? Well, Hijab is leaning on established research and official statistics. Golding, when he's asked for his source, says he saw it on a GB News segment with Nigel Farage. It's a pretty stark contrast in the kind of information each of them is using to build their case. All right, so all of this arguing over numbers and policy, it really all boils down to one huge question. Beyond all that, what does it actually mean to be British?
Okay, to really get where Golding is coming from, you have to understand this idea he talks about, ancestral citizenship. For him, just being born in a country doesn't automatically make you one of its people. Real nationality, in his mind, comes from your ancestry. It's about having a bloodline, a lineage, that goes back for generations in that nation.
And this isn't just some abstract theory for him. He applies it directly and very personally to Hijab, who was born and raised in the UK. According to Golding's own definition, because Hijab's parents are from Egypt, he sees him as an Egyptian, not British. And right there, the whole debate becomes incredibly personal.
So Hijab really pushes back on this. He's trying to figure out where Golding's logic ends, and so he asks this super sharp, direct question to just cut through all the noise and get to the point. Is this whole thing, at the end of the day, really just about race?
After a bit of back and forth, Golding gives a very clear answer. When he's asked straight up if his goal is to keep Britain a white country, he just says, yes, I do. It's one of those moments of just stark clarity in what was a really complex and winding argument.
So what would this actually look like as a policy? Well, Golding lays out this 4-step plan he calls remigration. It starts with deporting extremists and criminals. But then he says they would roll back the tape on legal immigration, removing the newest arrivals first. And they'd keep doing this until the native British population makes up 90% again. He even looks at Hijab and tells him directly that he would be on the first plane out. Okay, so after that incredibly intense clash over everything from statistics to the very definition of being British, the conversation, almost unbelievably, circles right back to where it all started, the fight.
And yeah, even with all those deep, fundamental disagreements, they actually land on a final agreement. They both commit to the sparring match, they agree to sort out the date and location over email, and they'll only release a promotional poster when they both sign off on it. So after all that talk, the fight, it seems, is still on.
And really, this brings us to the central, kind of bizarre question of this whole thing. After an hour of debating some of the most fundamental questions about identity and nationhood and belonging, their final conclusion is still that the next step is a physical fight. It just leaves you wondering, when the conflict is this deep, what on earth can a punch possibly prove that words can't?